This as opioid-related deaths reach an all-time high in this province.
Critics also argue Canada's current housing crisis shouldn't have come as a surprise.
A black man in Toronto testified in court today that he was the victim of racism at the hands of police.
It's a terrifying trend taking place across the country, and the latest data shows 10 provinces and territories have seen an increase in the toxicity of illicit drugs, and it's killing an average of 17 Canadians a day.
There's no room at Toronto shelters. They can accommodate 8,200 people, but in November, an average of 168 were turned away every day. Compare that with about 30 people at the same time last year.
We begin in New Brunswick, where another minister has quit Premier Blaine Higgs' cabinet.
The scale of the crisis has been clear for years. Hundreds of Indigenous women murdered or missing in Canada. A haunting national disgrace with no solution in sight.
I don't think all cops are bastards. I don't bother guessing how many of them are. Because of what I've seen too many times in my life, I do believe that however many non-bastard cops there are, they are not enough to save beautiful people like Niall Marzouk, the people most in need of protection from power and its violence. Good cops, however many there are, exist within a system of power that will only protect and serve the powerful. They exist within structures and systems where power cares about nothing except maintaining power and using it from time to time to dehumanize and destroy. Because to power, there is no point to having a gavel if you never get to swing it down. And there is no point to having a gun if you never get to shoot it. How shall we respond to power and its violence? I don't know for sure. I know only that all of us in power's path have to protect ourselves and each other. We have to love ourselves and each other. And I know only that I love our people more when we respond, even when our grief leaks out as rage against the forces that seek to destroy us. I love us more when we respond than I do when we seem to leave power to its work unchecked.
Did you know our entire society was built intentionally for someone to always have less? And the end result is that the bourgeois swim in excess. Alvin Finkel said that we built our world this way, separation of the classes. But you too can be rich someday. Our entire nation could be defined as an experiment of greed, while 3.7 million Canadians have far less than what they need. It absolutely blows my mind that some believe it is a choice. Poverty, trauma, and addiction destroys. Capitalism separates and divides. It's a marketing design. Have-nots versus have-more, prestige and status defined. Just pull yourself up by your bootstraps and buy into our capitalist trap. Jennison and Lundy highlighted the efforts of a prestigious profession, but it was from Dumbrell and Yee that I learned a more powerful lesson. Dumbrell said that he cannot begin to speak from a perspective he doesn't know. It was the first time I saw a white man disrupt the status quo. They said you have to know what is in your mind and where it comes from, or without realizing to your biases and judgments you'll succumb. So I must admit that I got this degree out of spite, for the next time I stood toe-to-toe with CPS in a fight. You see, I don't believe that we work for just the child, because if we truly believe in the mandate for families to be reconciled, we must work for the people who are hurting and broken. We must make connections and hear the words they have spoken. If we do that with the judgment that they are a terrible parent, they won't trust and they'll use anger to hide their embarrassment. It's easier to be angry than to admit that we are hurt, because to be vulnerable gives people the chance to treat us like dirt. I'm just a Métis girl from a broken home. My ancestors from Red River were known to roam, and I'll shape my personal framework on the buffalo hunt. Pardon my frankness, but I'm going to be blunt. This Euro-Western ideology of individualistic opportunity is not conducive to who I am supposed to be. This government said that it was wasteful and banned the potlatch in 1884. Truth was, it was bad for the economy and their big department stores. The potlatch is a ceremony, a display of generosity and wealth. How much you gave away showed the social status of oneself. Those who were the richest and the most revered were those who gave away the most of their riches and shared. The Métis hunt was based on the same ideology. Everyone was taken care of to ensure equity. The hunts were held 2 times per year in autumn and in summer. Everyone participated, fathers, children, and mothers. The men would hunt the buffalo after voting for a leader. The women took care of the camps and the pemmican procedure. The hunt provided sustenance and was a simple way of life until the plains were cleared of buffalo by the white man's hunting knife. The experiential knowledge that I bring to this profession is surviving poverty, homelessness, and colonial oppression. I grew up in foster care, then I was a broke single mother. I am also proof that some addicts do recover. But how has this all shaped my practice philosophy? How will I integrate theory and social models of practice for me? My personal ideology supports the human connection, critical hope, equity, inclusiveness. These all provide resilience protection. And as I move forward into social work practice, I believe this kind of connection can truly impact us. How we respond to power when it seeks to oppress explains how we ended up in this current fucking mess. So I will speak up and amplify the voices of those who suffer due to this nation's choices. I will never be a government social worker. My place is in the community where I never have to be a casual observer. My mouth is too big and my voice is too loud. I'm here to make my ancestors proud. The theoretical grounding that you want to see consists of the following learned outside of this degree. Harm reduction is imperative if we want to save lives. Without safe supply, nobody survives. Policing should not be $1 million industry. We should reinvest that money into healthcare consistently. Sex work is employment, you should admit. It's entrepreneurial. You could even tax it. Drugs should be legal for so many reasons, primarily that suffering humans don't belong in prisons. Schools should be free. Imagine our nation, the things we could cure with an educated population. There should be universal income because 3.7 million Canadians still need some. I know what you're saying, show me the data, but I'm telling you the happiest nation is in Canada. Empirical research is observed, measured, and what we know to be true, and I know that these ideas seem scary to you. We are facing a crisis here in this country, in politics, healthcare, housing, and almost every industry. Isn't it about time we tried something new instead of wringing our hands and wondering what to do? From abortion to abolition and Mullings et al., from the professors and students that I met at Dow, I finally know that I'm not alone in my beliefs, and a whole new class of social workers are about to take to the streets. From task-centered practice to narrative therapy, with respect to the person and their inherent dignity. I will advocate for and enhance the pursuit of social justice and fight for equity and all that that encompasses. With competence and integrity in professional practice, service to humanity, through honesty and advocacy, we can change things drastically. I take with me the lessons learned by Dumbrell and Yee and how strengths-based anti-oppressive practice speaks the most to me. But most importantly, I take with me a lesson, a powerful truth, spoken by Michael Kleber Diggs after the police murder of a youth. That social workers too exist within structures and a system of power that from time to time dehumanizes and devours. We saw this in the 60s scoop and the clearing of the plains, the devaluing of black bodies through enslavement and the whitewashing of history that remains. And if we aren't cognizant of the power that we wield, we run the risk of harming those that we promise to shield.